Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. Today we are working on a small silly idea that turns a classic into a test of concentration. So if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're all about that fun and weird game dev content every single week, so be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss future videos. And with that said, let's get to today's project. So the player controls the paddle/bar at the bottom of the screen and must use it to keep the bouncing skull from falling into the void below. It's basically the classic breakout without the bricks. However, the added twist are the button prompts that show up in random places on the screen. Each of these are actually just array data generated on the timer, and after a beat, just long enough for the animation to play, an object is created in that spot for the player to then interact with. This object, or mark, is also given an identifying number of 0 or 1. Remember this for later. The mark itself is stationary and simply keeps track of its life timer. And halfway through its lifetime, the marker will begin to emit particles as a warning. And at the end of its lifetime, it destroys itself, hurting the player in the process. And this can be avoided by having the player click on the mark before it reaches that point, which is where that designated number comes into play. If the mark is a 0, then it must be clicked with the left mouse button. If the mark is 1, then it requires a right click. Pressing the proper button destroys the mark, but getting it wrong will do damage instead. And of course, once the player's health is fully depleted, it's game over. And of course, same with letting the skull fall into the void. Now, there's currently no real way to win, but I imagine it'd be a score attack type of game. Admittedly, not a lot of thought went into this, as it's been a project that's been on my to-do list with no real additions to it for a while now. Although thinking about it now as I'm recording this, how crazy would it be to take inspiration from something like Osu, you know? Breakout plus Osu sounds like a pretty terrifying combination. Now this project also gave me more time to mess with the art program that I recently moved to. I mean, you like that spinning skull animation? Yeah, that took me like a whole 10 minutes. Although I do have to say that the marker spawning animation came out a lot cleaner than anticipated. Anyway, that was it for today's project. This month is dedicated to smaller one-shot ideas like this, so expect a few more in the coming weeks. And really, some are only considered small one-shots because they're ideas that really haven't flourished since, they were first thought up. And I'd love to hear your thoughts or ideas for how we could expand on them, so be sure to leave them in the comments. Also, of course, if you would like to play a few other games featured on the channel or get early access to the weekly videos, subscribe to my Patreon. And with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.